Disclaimer, there's no sex in this place. Just like there's no sex in my life. Anyway, I have a couple poems. Sorry. So when I was a journalist, like I said before, you have nothing better to do once you've done dishes and plotted your charts and all that kind of guy stuff. So I started writing poetry, time goes by. And so I have a couple festive ones, not so much, that are kind of dark and unabridged, and I'm going to share them with you. So, okay, so it's Mrs. View of Santa Claus after years of marriage. Here comes the prick, stone staggered and boozing. He ain't got no teeth and his hair he's losing. Why I married this bum, I'll never know. We live in the boonies, deer shit and snow. I feed all his elves from morn till dusk. They act more like fairies, full spice and musk. His sex drive has dwindled, his dick has gone limp. My brave little martyr is now just a whip. Tomorrow he asked if I'd repaint his sled. After this Christmas, that fucker is dead. 'Twas the day after Christmas. 'Twas the day after Christmas, and through the nut house the preacher was stirring, there's trouble about. A family was hung by the chimney with care. They had trusted his Santa, white boots and red hair. The mall was too much for that jolly old chap. His patience grew thin, and then finally, snap. He punched out his reindeer and groin-kicked an elf. I guess you could say Santa just wasn't himself. His knife, how it glistened as it cut through the air. It struck down poor Jimmy, it just wasn't fair. The police squad was helpless, it was quite a disgrace. This Yuletide cyclist cost them his face. A distress call went out, the situation was hairy. Answering was Cupid, Easter Bunny, Tooth Fairy. A crack squad indeed for such a dangerous foe who had killed Linda Lovelace with her own mistletoe. Santa was leaving while the getting was good. Who would have thought, say Nick, who was in the hood? He didn't get far, the papers did say. The trio had snuck up and ambushed his sleigh. The fight was over before it begun. The villain defeated, the good guys had won. But they heard him exclaim as he went to the chair, I'll be back in the sequel, Spielberg beware. I'm going to read some stuff. Okay, so back to this story of this writer who was an elf in a mall. And what attracted me to this story was that I am now a writer, and I was once an elf in a mall. And it was a horrible experience, especially as a middle-aged man. Don't fucking me too. It's embarrassing. Anyway, I'll spare you the details, but the stockings didn't stay up, and the girls were nubile, and we pranced around the mall, and I just scared people, and it was just amazingly bad. Okay, so to recap the story, this gentleman is now in training to be a Santa elf. Interpreters for the deaf came and taught us to sign, Merry Christmas, I'm Santa's helper. They told us, as we signed, to speak in bold, clear voices and bright facial expressions. They taught us to say, you're a very pretty boy. I love you. Would you like a surprise? It's kind of creepy now. Jesus Christ. My sister Amy lived above a deaf girl and learned quite a lot of sign language. She taught me some, and so now I'm able to say, Santa has a tumor in his hand the size of an olive. Maybe it will go away tomorrow, but I don't think so. On any given day, you can be an entrance elf, a water cooler elf, a bridge elf, a train elf, a maze elf, island elf, magic window elf, emergency elf, counter elf, magic tree elf, pointer elf, Santa elf, photo elf, usher elf, cast elf, runner elf, and exit elf. We were given demonstrations by the various positions performed by returning elves who were animated and so relentlessly cheerful that it embarrassed me to walk past them. I don't know that I could look someone in the eye and say, oh my God, I think I see Santa. Or, can you close your eyes and make a special wish? Everything these elves said, and sorry, I'm having trouble with my contact now. Everything is all said. Maybe. Where is the light? Finally. Everything the elf said made me, my mouth hurt with such forced merriment. I feel concerned if someone talks to me that way. Doesn't everyone? I prefer being frank with children and saying, you must be exhausted. Or, I know a lot of people that kill for a waistline like yours. I'm afraid I won't be able to provide the grinding enthusiasm Santa asked for. I think it'll be a low-key sort of elf. I'll skip ahead because I know what to take. This afternoon I worked as an exit elf, telling people in a loud voice, this way out of Santa Land. A woman was standing at one of the cashier's register paying for an idea of a picture. We call it an idea of a picture, so when you had your picture apparently at Macy's, you didn't actually get the picture, it was mailed to you weeks later, so you were actually buying an idea of a picture. So this is $9 for one, $18 for three. So she was paying for a register, and underneath her, kicking and heaving and screaming, was her son. The woman said, Riley, if you don't start behaving yourself, Santa won't bring you any of the toys you asked for. The child said, he's going to too, you liar. He told me so. The woman grabbed my arm and said, you there, elf. Tell Riley if he doesn't start behaving immediately, Santa's going to change his mind and bring him coal for Christmas. I said that Santa no longer traffics in coal. Instead, if you're bad, he comes to your house and steals things. I told Riley that if you don't behave yourself, Santa's going to take away your TV and all the electrical appliances, leave you in the dark. All your appliances, including the refrigerator, you feel it's going to spoil. It's going to smell bad. It's going to be so cold and dark where you are. Man, Riley, you are going to be so suffer. You're going to wish you never heard the name Santa. The woman got worried, look on her face and said, all right, that's enough. I said, he's going to take your car and your furniture and the towels and blankets and leave you with nothing. The mother said, no, that's enough, really. I'm just going to skip ahead to the recap of this is my last day of work. We've been told that Christmas Eve is a slow day, but this was the day of the week that training meant us to prepare for. It was a day of non-stop action, a day when the manager spent a great deal of their days on the walkie-talkie. I witnessed a fist fight between two mothers and watched while a woman experienced a severe crowd-related anxiety attack, falling to the floor and groping for breath, her arms flailing like she was fighting bats. A Long Island father called Santa a faggot because he couldn't tell that he didn't have the time to recite the night before Christmas to his child. Parents of long lives left disposable diapers at Santa's door. It was the most ravaged crowd I'd ever seen, and we were all short on elves. Many knew somebody did not show up or call in sick. As a result, we had our lunch hours cut in half, and we went without our afternoon breaks. Many elves complained bitterly that this was the rest of us, the moment we had been waiting for. It was us against them. Being a trooper, I surrendered completely. My Santa and I had been on the lap and off the lap in 45 seconds flat. We were an efficient machine surrounded by chaos. Quitting time came and went for both of us, and we paid no never mind. My plane was due to leave at 8 o'clock, and I stayed until the last possible moment, figuring the time I needed to be at my flight. It was with reservation that I reported to my manager and said, I have to leave. I put my hand on her shoulder. She squeezed my arm and she was at a cash register, screaming at a woman, and said she was in fact calling the customer a bitch. She squeezed my arm and I touched her arm and I said, I have to go now. Her hand laid on my arm, she squeezed gently and went back to her conversation. Don't tell the store president I called you a bitch. Tell her I called you a fucking bitch, because that's what you are. That's exactly what you are. Now get out of my sight before I do something we'll both regret. Merry Christmas.